Welcome to my guide on Nakatra, the final boss within the Sanctum of Guardian. As for the requirements, it will massively help to have completed the Succession quest so you gain access to the Dive ability, as this boss has a lot of movement going on near Phase 4. As for some familiars, you can use Beast of Burdens to hold extra food, or if you are a little comfortable, you are able to use like a Ripper Demon, Calgarian Demon for extra damage to the boss. For Phase 4, it will help to have Disruption Shield and the Power Burst of Vitality, just in case you do mess up, so this is an emergency and it will help you. And lastly, Dread Nips, which stuns the boss, and Death Mark to save a lot of time, as you can use it on both puppies, and it has a chance to instantly kill the boss once it is low enough on the very last phase, as it can be very hectic and crazy and a lot going on. For the boss arena, it will be very helpful to stand in these exact tiles, and that is because when the boss uses his special mechanics, you will only need to move a couple tiles to avoid it, in which case you want to go to a little different quadrant, which is only 2-3 tiles away, depending on where you are within the area, except when the boss does the hieroglyphics, in which case it will pretty much cover up all of the squares except 2 or 3 openings. So in which case, let's say you're attacking the boss and there's an opening behind the boss, you are actually able to surge and you will be automatically put in the safe spot. Just make sure that when you are using surge, you have to face the direction you want to go. Or, of course, you are able to use the dive ability to make this so much quicker, as you just need to click the ability and click where you want to go. For the very first mechanic in Phase 1, once the boss's adrenaline has been filled up, he will summon Soulfire waves on the opposite side where the player is, and they will be targeting towards you. What you will want to quickly do is move out of the line path, and then just when the wave does pass you, you want to go back on it to avoid the second attack. Next, the very next mechanic is very painful, and you want to have 50% adrenaline, pray magic, and devotion. If your devotion is on cooldown, you'll actually want to reflect. Then, after that, you'll just have the same exact attack, will be the fire waves, in which case they're fairly easy, but this part can be a little bit tricky. The very next mechanic will be the waves and the scarabs that will spawn 2 sets of them on the northern side. You'll actually want to attack them and use the Soul Strike ability. Now, the one that does walk towards the boss, you will actually need to kill that, as stunning it will not instantly kill it. And yes, once the bar does fill up, if you are unable to stun and kill it, it will deal between 4,000 to 6,000 damage for each scarab that is alive, and it can get sniped, so be careful if you are using Disruption Shield or Resonance from the boss, which can be pretty brutal if you do get comboed out nicely. For Phase 2 will be the hieroglyphics, in which case the boss will say, feel the power beneath your feet, and to the west and east of the arena you will see a little icon highlighting, and then the little white areas are where the safe spots will be at from a west to east perspective, in which case you will want to have the dive ability unlocked from the Succession quest, and you will want to go to the safe spots. If you have done it successfully, your ability will reset on cooldown. Now, if you have failed, as a last precaution, you are able to just food and mouth it, or you are able to use the surge ability. Just remember to be facing the right direction, so you don't want to go in a beam and then pretty much just kiss the floor. After the boss has done the hieroglyphic special attack twice, prepare for the obliterate special attack coming up. So remember to have 50% adrenaline and pray magic and devotion, and or reflect depending if it is on cooldown or not. Repeat all the mechanics and DPS until you have phased the boss until Phase 3, in which case it will summon 2 monsters if you are in solo to the west and east, and these will be little puppies that deal a good amount of damage, so you want to pray melee, and they are able to remove your protection prayer, so just remember to have that back on, and you will want to death mark these puppies so that their instant kill will proc, as the boss will be able to restore their health. And keep in mind that you deal more damage the closer you are to the little puppies. Afterwards, just remember to make sure to deal with all the mechanics and it can be quite a painful mechanic, as there is one that does a huge cross across the whole area, but you should be fine as long as you stay directly south of the dogs. Now on to phase 4, which is the absolute worst boss mechanic, since you will get everything cluttered up. But more importantly, the boss will teleport you to the shadow realm, and you will want to click on the purple mist, get rid of the puppies by praying Melee, Threads of Fate, and Volley of Souls. But do keep in mind to the north of you, as there will be 2 specific glyphs that you will need to memorize, and then once you have killed the puppies, you want to click on the 3 souls to get you back here, and then you want to go on the symbol that is not shown that was in the shadow realm. Otherwise, you will get instantly killed, and make sure you are standing within the glyphs or you will be able to die. Now, for the very last phase, it will be very helpful to stand behind these 2 exact tiles, in which case it will be much easier to avoid the mechanics, as you will only need to move 1 tile. Although if you do have run on, I suggest you click 2 tiles in and then 2 tiles back out, and that's because usually when you do run in 1 game tick you move 2 tiles. If you do have walk on, it does make it a little bit easier, but I really doubt that players unlike me actually have their action keybind for the run energy. And even with a Ring of Death, you are able to pretty much double die here. And while you do have a couple of seconds to attack the boss, this right here is the absolute worst part. And the goal is right when the line fills up about 75% of the first time while you are behind the yellow tile, you will want to click and make sure you have run on, and you want to click either 1 tile or 2 tiles within the location. And that is because depending on the game tick, when you do run in, run normally moves you 2 tiles a game tick. So if you run in between game ticks, technically you'll be in the middle of 1 tile instead of 2 to make it a little bit easier, and you are safely able to food and mouth this as long as you are using rocktails and blue blubber jellyfish. You are also able to get away with sharks, but you cannot out-eat this if you only bring Saradome and Bruise and blue blubber jellyfish, just because of the high 7,000 damage you will be able to take. Now, if you do this approach and you tank both of them, you will need to have Disruption Shield and then build your journal to 50% for Pray Magic and Devotion for that special mechanic. And then you can also use the Power Burst of Vitality, but remember, you have to eat all the way and then use the Power Burst of Vitality so that your current health is doubled, in which case you'll want to get about 15,000 and then pray accordingly to whatever the boss is attacking you with. Now that we have went over all the mechanics, make your way to the boss, activate your aura, summon all your familiars and your conjurers, and for this purpose I will be using a Hellhound, in which case this is advised if you are a new player, as you'll be taking a lot of hammy damage. Just remember to avoid the mechanics as much as possible, although it does take a lot of practice, and if you do have the dive ability or not. And then once the boss says like obliterate, just remember to pray magic and devotion. And then for the hieroglyphics, just try your best. If not, you are able to actually food and mouth 2 of the hieroglyphs in a row, as long as it is rocktails and blue blubber jellyfish. If you are using bruise and blue blubbers, you will not be able to out heal the damage you do take. And then of course, once you do get a little bit of practice, you are able to use like a Ripper Demon or a Calgarian Demon if you are using magic with the scrolls for that plus 6% critical strike damage. There is one thing to note, and that if you are taking so much damage, your Hellhound will actually die, and you want to use the Prism of Restoration, which is on the Ancient Spellbook, but I like to bring a Spellbook swap because I'm generally on Lunars, so that I'm able to use a Disruption Shield quickly. And then for the puppies, just make sure to stand in melee distance so that you're able to deal more damage to them. And then they do take quite a while, and depending on RNG, the boss can heal them 2, 3 times, or even 4 times. And then for phase 4, you're going to have to just pretty much food and mouth this or get used to this mechanic a lot. and not even using a ring of death will save you for this purpose. And then just remember, for the very first special attack, again, you have to use devotion and pray magic. And then right here, you really have to pay attention to the symbols. But even with a 27-inch screen, I was zoomed out on ultra mode on the free camera angle. I was not able to see both symbols at the same time, which was extremely annoying. So I wish there was an easier way to make that happen. But near the end, once you have done the second round, you will want to try to invoke death and pretty much DPS the boss before he can kill you. But remember, you are able to food and mouth the mechanics with the Hellhound as long as you are using good food like I did say earlier. And congratulations, you have completed your kill. And good luck on getting the collection log title from this boss. Thank you all so much for watching this and enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or comment down below any video suggestions or questions you have, and I will try to answer them. And enjoy the rest of your day.